All right, so I have an update for one of the cases that we covered. Multiple people have asked for us to cover this again, and more than likely I'm going to. It just requires a whole lot of researching, of data, of figuring stuff out, and then putting it all together. But I have a couple to add here that I thought were very interesting. So if you guys haven't checked out our couple videos we did on the smiley face killers, you should check them out. We did one smiley face nationally that kind of laid out the
foundation,
the foundation of the story, and one of the two cops that really took this head on and has pushed this theory and figured out quite a bit according to them. Now we also covered the story in Austin, which seems to be an area that's getting hit really hard right now with very similar type deaths as the smiley face theory ideas, you know,
The
young
MO.
men that are floating in the river, floating in bodies of water after going missing from, you know, unknown places, from drinking areas, from non-drinking areas, just all of a sudden coming up missing. Now, I have a couple, with us being in Chicago, multiple people have said that there's Chicago bodies that we need to look into. And, you know, I just briefly started looking into it. And one of them is an update from January 31st around Matthew Listman, a 21-year-old student at Illinois State University, was discovered dead in a creek, cops say, around Normal, Illinois. And, you know, he was found literally in a creek, unknown how he got there. And it says died of drowning in the setting of cold exposure. And he's been missing. So it's another prime example of this situation where you have a college kid that looks like he has everything together. He was going for his business major, at ISU, Illinois State University. He's from Libertyville, Illinois, and you know, he was really close to his family. Just looks like a good, normal young kid. Went missing. Family started asking questions, not getting calls back. Reached out, filed the missing person, and days later was found in a creek. So that one's interesting. There's also one that a lot of people know about, the Jelani Day disappearance, a black college kid that was also at ISU, Illinois State University, and was found. His body was found in the Illinois River in Peru, Illinois, and under similar circumstances where he was last seen at a shopping center. Nobody knows how he got to that other area. His car was found dropped in the middle of the woods, and the next they know is he was found floating in the area.
Scary.
Yeah, super scary. We're gonna keep looking on it. Now, there's one other hotbed area that I wanted to mention before we dig into it here, and it is King County. King County, I believe it's Washington. I should have checked. Double check that for me. Is King County, Washington? I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, it is. Okay. So it is King County, Washington. Now, this is really interesting here. Okay. So this is a statement from King County in Washington. At least 12 people in King County have drowned so far this year, after the total number last year nearly doubled from 2018. Very similar to what we're seeing in Austin.
Yeah.
Black residents in King County who have less access to pools and swimming lessons are 2.5 times more likely to drown than white residents. Isn't that strange?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was really strange too. That from what they're seeing, it's mainly colored people, people of color that are drowning in that area. I haven't had the chance to dig into those stats yet, but so many people were interested in the Smiley face killings that I thought I would just give a couple updates. Now, both of those that I listed in the beginning are labeled as drownings. And again, both family members are like, no way, this wouldn't have happened without some kind of other factor.
That's what's interesting is all of these families, for the most part, are like, that doesn't make sense. Like, we have people on here that are young, that are, you know, very healthy, could swim for a fact. You know what I mean? Like, there's just too many at this point for it to be a coincidence. And the fact, there's just so many factors here that are suspicious that I feel like there just needs to be more eyes on it.
There does need to be more eyes on it, but what makes it hard is, okay, for those of you, maybe you didn't watch our first couple videos and you're going to go back and watch them after this video. I'll give you the rundown real quick, okay? So smiley face killers are a theory out there that there is this faction and group of people that focus on college-aged men, boys anywhere from 18 to, you know, late 20s, and somehow pick them up from busy areas, specifically bars, but also shopping centers, and randomly, and abduct these men and abuse them and torture them, and who knows what happens to them before dropping them into a body of water filled with a drug like GHB, which GHB is not tested for just on a normal panel. It has to be requested specifically. So if you're filled with GHB and you get thrown in water, you're going to drown. Okay. So they could have been abused and tortured, and the body of water's covering any of that evidence. It's covering the fact that, you know, they were loaded with GHB and thrown in the water to drown at their own accord. But there's this idea that there's this faction and group out there that's doing this to college age men, and there's been theories and ideas that it could be women doing this. There's been theories and ideas that because they're all like middle to upper class, going for business, have hookups into stock market, like stock market professions, any high paying profession, that it could be lower classes that are coming after them. There's been all kinds of theories out there, but for those of you just watching for the first time, that's basically the rundown. Now, when you look at very specific places like Chicago, which we haven't dug into yet, we're going to dig into next, but Austin is one we covered, and now possibly King County in Washington. All of a sudden we're seeing these statistics where, like, in 2018 there was 1 or 2 people, you know. In Austin it was literally 0 or 1 people per year drowning, and then the next year it was 8 people, and it was all college-aged men. And then the next year after that it was a couple more, and then the year after that it dropped just a little bit. But ever since that original 2018 number of like 0 or 1, it's never dropped back down. It's always been 10 times that original number. We're seeing the same thing in King County. We're seeing you know, in Illinois, all over the place, and these guys know how to swim.
Right. So the way they drown, okay, so GHB, for example, like, it's perfect in a drowning because, like, when you're not going to have full motor function of your body. You're not going to be able to swim after consuming or being injected with GHB. And then once you have passed, when the cops pick you up and they do an autopsy and a toxicology, they're not going to see it unless for some reason they suspect it and they request that.
Yeah.
So a lot of these are going to have gone undetected because they thought, oh, this person, drunk. They were just drunk and they drowned.
I have never in my life, which, mind you, for I don't know if I've ever said this before, but I'm a very, 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 very strong swimmer. Like there's nothing I can't swim out of. Any ocean, any waves, anything like that, undertows, all of that. But I've never been so drunk in my life that I didn't know how to swim.
No,
like,
me either.
Ever.
Me either. And
Never.
I have drank and swam a lot.
Me too.
And
Me too.
I'm a strong swimmer, just not. I couldn't swim through anything.
Yeah.
But
I grew up by the beach, literally.
I grew up in water too, and beaches and pools and creeks and you name it, I swam in it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say I could swim through anything, but I've been wasted in swimming.
Yeah.
And I have never not been able to swim.
Yeah. Yeah.
And these places they're found in, it's not like they have a ton of current.
No, that was literally a creek, and there's been some standing water that these men have been found in, but because they've been in water for so long that, maybe some of the marks that are being done, theory, some of the marks that are being done are being hid by the water. We don't know. We have no idea. But these two officers from our other videos have made some connections. You should go back and watch those videos, because it seems like we have live areas right now, like Austin, like
New York,
King County,
Chicago.
like Chicago, that it seems to be the drownings are always college age men, which statistically that doesn't make sense, dude. That doesn't make sense to me. So I don't know. I just wanted to update you guys and give a shout out to these two men. I hope their families are doing okay. I think that they need to be remembered. And I hope that law enforcement finds a reason to keep looking into these cases and doesn't just like whatever closed, you know what I mean?
Discard them like they're nothing.
Yep. Because they had alcohol and because they were found in bodies of water. It's easy to write that off. But the thing is, if there's any possibility, a slim chance, whether it's one person that travels coast to coast and stopping at cities and doing this, and Austin happens to be one of their favorite, I don't know, or it really is a group of people, or there really is, a dark web thing you go to and there's this cult of people. I don't know. But if I was law enforcement, I would want to know.
Yeah.
I would want to make sure. So
do you think college age, that demographic, is intentional because it's less likely to get looked into by police because they're college age young men are known to party?
Yeah, I've said this from the very beginning. If the smiley face killers are real, they are geniuses in their approach. Literally geniuses.
Absolutely.
And I've made this statement before that if this is real and you're part of that, dude, reach out to me. I will 100% keep anything confidential, just to have some kind of anything to know if something like that is real, is more than anybody has ever gotten before. According to the officer, they claim that they found the website and hopped on there. And again, there's no evidence of this. So grain of salt, you know what I mean?
They didn't screen record?
And they were kicked off. Like they were given the website and they noticed that they weren't supposed to be there and kicked them out before any evidence or anything like that could be gathered. So,
man,
yeah, I don't know if it's real. I don't know if it was just information to spark interest to push this idea further, which sometimes you probably need to do if you're an investigator and things are dry, create interest, whatever.
Interest brings money, which brings incentive and time and,
Yep, absolutely. So I don't know. I don't know any of those details. I just know the few cases I've looked into and think they are very interesting. I think that it's very possible that this theory has legs, that it holds water. And I would love to know more about it,
There's too many things here that I feel like it's
too genius if it is somebody.
it is too
They're
genius.
smarter than the cops. That's
Yes.
it. They've thought of all the ways that are the
Yes.
worst things for investigators. Water is one of the worst. Nobody wants to deal with a swelling body, and I'm sure most medical coroners aren't even trained in what
medical examiners.
Yeah, aren't even trained in what water swollen damaged tissue should look like. You know what I mean? Because there's not too many cases where you need to dig into those details. Normally, serial killers do things in a certain way, and it's not water based. So I just think that whoever thought of this, it was smart.
Yeah, there's like
It was smart.
There's body farms where they put corpses through any condition you can think of.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that the coroner is going to be trained on it, or the medical examiner, just because education is trained on it. So
yeah, I guess that's true. I think they would know, kind of, but the thing is that it can hide so many things, deteriorate so many things, that it can get really muddy where you don't really know what you're looking at anymore.
Yeah, I think when you're in water, because your body starts absorbing that water and the tissues and everything, it also makes drugs go out of your system quicker and all kinds of stuff. It just makes gathering evidence on a body extremely hard.
It does.
One of the hardest things out there. Now you enter cold on top of it, that's a whole other thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what it does to muscles by freezing them and unfreezing. I mean, it's you guys know what your meat looks like after it's been like frost burned and defrost and frost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same thing for our bodies. They do the same types of things. So, I would love to know if there's something real like this out there, you know?
Like I said, I feel like there's too many coincidences at this point that there can't be something. There's got to be something. Like,
I would love to break the MO. What is it? Is it women that are targeting men that have been abusive to women in some way? Is it a lower class that are taking a jab at the middle to upper class? I don't know. I don't know. What is the MO?
Yeah, I don't know.
If it's real, there's a reason behind it.
Yeah.
And it is not a serial killer. That's not your classic serial killer MO, to where you're overpowering and consuming your victim. There's a motive behind it. There's a motive.
For sure.
I wonder if they target jerks, where all these guys like complete jerks to nerdy kids,
or like essayers.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. So
yeah, it's an interesting theory.
mhm.
Because that's really what it is right now. It's a theory. But I feel like there's some evidence we uncovered in those previous videos that really made it hold a lot of weight.
Yeah,
like
it's the statistics.
It's the statistical data that really sells me on it, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, whoa. That there's a reason for these numbers. There's a reason drownings have gone up, and they're specifically this demographic always.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
So I really would highly suggest go check out the Smiley Face Killers, and also the Austin it's Austin, right? Yeah, it's Austin, Texas. What was the name of the lake? I don't know. It's a
Ladybird.
Ladybird. Yeah, yep. Ladybird. Because it's really interesting, and I think you did a good job of laying out that data so that I mean, like I said, it really sold me on it, man.
It's interesting for sure.
It's terrifying. It's so scary.
Yep. But let me know what you guys think.
Yeah.